Hello. In this video, we're going to go ahead and solve the following equation exactly. We have the square root of 4x plus 13 equals 2x minus 1. And again, this is a radical equation, so we're going to want to get a single radical on one side of the equation. Notice that we just already have that happening here, so we need to go ahead and skip to the next step, which is to take both sides to the power of the index. The index in this case is an understood 2. So we're going to square both sides of this equation. Notice that the square root and square cancel, so we're left with 4x plus 13 on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side we have 2x minus 1 squared. And again, if you don't know how to do this yet, you could just use the formula, and that's effectively what I'm going to be doing. Or you can realize that a plus b squared is the same thing as a plus b times a plus b. In other words, write it out as two separate binomials and square it. When you do that with this, we're going to square everything first. So 2 squared is 4. X squared is x squared. Leave some space here, and then put the plus 1 at the end. Now that's plus 1 because that's 1 squared. As for the middle, multiply these two things together. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x, and then double the coefficient, which makes that minus 4x. Excellent. Now we have a quadratic equation that we can solve. Move everything to one side, which means in this case I'm going to subtract the 4x from both sides and subtract 13 from both sides, which gives me 0 on the left-hand side and 4x squared minus 8x minus 12 on the right-hand side. But notice that there's a common factor of 4, so it's actually going to be easiest here to go ahead and divide everything by 4. That gives me 0 on the left, and then x squared minus 2x minus 3 on the right-hand side. Awesome. And when you can, factor. Factor is always the quickest way if it's possible. In this case, it is possible because something multiplies to 3 and has a difference of 2. And again, this is going to be a positive and a negative because this is a minus sign right there. And from these, 1 and 3 are the only factors of 3. It has a difference of 2. Good. And that means that the 3 needs to be negative and the 1 positive. And then set each of these equal to 0. And solve. We get x equals negative 1 and x equals 3. Awesome. At this point, you need to test whether or not these are solutions of the original equation. So we're going to look at x equals negative 1 first. So for the negative 1, we're going to plug it in to this original equation without these squares on there. So to do so, we're going to go ahead and get the square root of 4 times the x, which is negative 1, plus 13. And that's equal to 2 times negative 1 minus 1. And then just simplify each side. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 13 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. And on the right-hand side, we have 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. Good. Notice that 3 does not equal negative 3. Therefore, I have to reject the negative 1. By the way, I don't expect you to be able to do this in your head. Well, I do expect you to be able to, but I don't expect that you will. Just type each of these into the calculator and see what it says. Good deal. Next, let's look at x equals 3. Again, plugging this into the original equation, that gives me 4 times 3 plus 13 under the radical of square root equals 2 times 3 minus 1. 4 times 3 is 12 plus 13 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. And on the right-hand side, we have 2 times 3, which is 6, minus 1, which is 5. This gives us 5 equals 5, and notice that that is, in fact, the solution. So x equals 3 is the one and only solution to this particular equation. Awesome. Well, I believe that is it for this particular video. I will see you in the next one. Have fun.